Hey everyone, it's Esther, and I'm holding something that's barely bigger than a quarter-meat piccolissimo, one of the world's smallest drones. It honestly looks like a toy, but it's packed with some serious engineering. Brady, have you ever seen a drone this tiny before?
Esther, I'm genuinely amazed. When you say fit in your pocket, you mean it. The fact that engineers have crammed flight control, sensors, and a battery into something smaller than a cookie is mind-blowing. Imagine flying this thing around your living room without your cat even noticing.
Totally. Plus, with drones getting smaller, who knows what wild uses we'll see. Maybe mini drones will deliver your snacks one day. Speaking of small things, Brady, you had a question that's even tinier in scale, right?
I sure do. Your drone's cool, but I was wondering, what's the smallest animal on Earth? I mean, nature's got some contenders that put even Piccolissimo to shame size-wise.
That's a classic question. But before we dive in, let's clarify. Are we talking about baby animals or grown-ups? Because a newborn giraffe is way smaller than a full-grown one, but that's not really fair, right?
Exactly. Scientists typically look for the smallest animal by measuring adults at full size. Otherwise, a baby elephant could compete with a grown mouse, which would be hilarious, but not accurate.
So, we're on the hunt for the tiniest species that's still tiny when it's all grown up. That narrows the field a bit, but there are still so many options. Any guesses before we reveal the contenders?
Honestly, my first thought was maybe a mouse or some kind of bug, but I'm betting the real answer is something I'd never think of.
Let's start with a fan favorite, the Tasmanian pygmy possum. This little marsupial is so small, it's tinier than the crayons kids use at School 11 when fully grown.
That's nuts! I can picture it now just chilling in a pencil box with the erasers. Being that tiny helps it dodge predators, right? Kind of like a ninja of the Australian forests.
Exactly. Their small size lets them slip through dense brush and hide in places bigger animals can't reach. They're living proof that sometimes the smallest creatures have the biggest survival tricks.
It's wild to think that an adult mammal could weigh less than most snacks. But I'm guessing we can go even smaller, can't we?
You guessed it. Enter the Etruscan shrew, one of the smallest land animals by weight. It tips the scale at just 1.2 grams. That's about as much as a paperclip or a single raisin.
Hold up. A full-grown mammal that weighs the same as a raisin? That's almost impossible to imagine. Do they have super fast metabolisms to survive at that size?
Great point. Their hearts beat it up to 500 times per minute to keep up with their energy needs. If we had their metabolism, we'd have to eat our weight in hamburgers daily just to keep going.
No wonder they don't sit still for long. Being tiny comes with some wild biological demands. But let's not stop at fuzzy animals, because the world of the small gets even stranger.
Absolutely. Let's zoom into the ocean and meet zooplankton. These microscopic animals float in the sea and are barely bigger than a pencil tip. Most folks wouldn't even guess they're animals at first glance.
Right. They look more like glitter specks than living things. But they're true animals. They don't make their own food like plants. Instead, they drift around, snacking on whatever the ocean currents deliver.
And their inability to swim powerfully means they're at the mercy of the tides. Talk about going with the flow, literally.
But the diversity among zooplankton is massive. Some eventually grow into jellyfish, crabs, or even fish, while others stay microscopic their whole lives.
Let's not forget insects, some of the tiniest animals you'll ever find, and they're everywhere. I once rescued a cat and found fleas so small I would have missed them without a magnifying glass.
Fleas are basically Olympic jumpers in disguise, too. Their size lets them sneak into the hardest-to-reach places and feast without being noticed. It's a stealth game for survival.
And as tiny as fleas are, nature always has something smaller up its sleeve. Ever heard of the fairyfly?
I have. And despite the name, it's not a tiny fairy, it's an insect so small it can ride on a butterfly's back, and the butterfly doesn't even feel it.
Exactly. Fairyflies are among the world's smallest flying animals, so minuscule they can fit on the tip of a needle. Now that's next level tiny.
They're like the hitchhikers of the insect world, catching a ride on bigger bugs to save energy. It's energy efficiency at its finest.
And despite their size, they play a big ecological role, often helping control pest populations by laying eggs inside other insects.
It's mind-blowing that something almost invisible can have an outsized impact on the environment. But we're still not at the absolute smallest animal yet, are we?
Nope, we've got to go even smaller down to the microscopic realm. Meet Myxozoa, specifically Myxobola shekel, a jellyfish relative. If you lined up 1,000 of these, they'd barely stretch to the length of a paperclip.
That's nearly invisible to the naked eye. Scientists only spotted these with high-powered microscopes. They might not look like what we think of as animals, but they meet all the criteria. They eat, reproduce, and respond to their environment.
And their life cycle is fascinating. Some specialize as parasites, living inside fish and causing all sorts of mischief. It's like the ultimate game of hide and seek at the cellular level.
It makes you wonder what else is lurking at that scale. For all we know, the real record holder for smallest animal could still be out there, just waiting to be discovered.
Let's talk about why being tiny is such an advantage. For pygmy possums, it's all about hiding from predators. For shrews and microcritters, it's about squeezing into tight spaces and maximizing resources.
Absolutely. Tiny size means less food is needed, and you can live in places giants can't reach. But there's a trade-off. Smaller animals often have to work harder to stay warm and avoid dehydration.
Right, and that's why their metabolisms run at lightning speed. It's a delicate balance, small body, big energy demands. Plus, being small can open up entire worlds like the nooks of tree bark or the crevices of coral reefs.
And don't forget, even at the tiniest sizes, animals can play huge roles in ecosystems, whether as food for larger creatures or by keeping populations in check.
So, with all these microscopic marvels, do you think it's possible we'll find something even smaller in the future? Science loves a good surprise.
Definitely. New technologies like electron microscopes and genetic analysis mean we're constantly uncovering life forms we never suspected. Who knows, next year's record holder might be hiding in a drop of pond water right now.
And every discovery challenges our ideas about what it means to be an animal. From the fuzzy to the nearly invisible, the diversity is wild.
It just goes to show the world's full of mysteries at every scale. Sometimes, the most mind-blowing creatures are the ones we can't even see without help.
That wraps up our deep dive into the world's smallest animals. Brady, thanks for bringing the big questions about tiny things. For everyone listening, what mystery should we tackle next?
The options are endless. Why do we get hiccups? Do fish sleep? Or, my personal favorite, why do we have leap years?
We want to hear from you. Cast your vote. Send us your burning questions, and who knows, your curiosity might spark our next episode.
Remember, whether it's the tiniest animal or the weirdest science fact, the world's always got something cool waiting to be discovered. Stay curious, everyone.